Harvey, we want to thank you for being here. And as everyone knows, as we're recording this right now as well, we're recording this, you are not just a one-time bestseller or two-time bestseller, but now a 7-time bestseller on the New York Times bestseller list. That's pretty good, Harvey. And I think it says a lot that the market keeps coming back saying, we want more and we're going to continue buying the book. So congratulations on that.
Thank you very much. 3.5 years in the writing, it's your baby. You've been living with it, and then when you get the result, of course, it's electrifying, Terry. It's exciting. So thanks for the compliment.
You bet. Well, Harvey, what we want to do today is I want to talk to you a little bit about not only this book, but your philosophy in general. Well, tell us a little bit about, I have read the book, the Mackay MBA of Selling in the Real World. Matter of fact, I've read all of your books and have found them to be exceptionally good. But this one, Harvey, you knocked the ball out of the park. I mean, it's phenomenal. It's real-world information. It gives us something that we can use that gives the sound, tried and true principles of selling, but also you blend in some of the latest cutting-edge information on technology with Twitter, Facebook, and those things. Tell us a little bit about the Mackay MBA of Selling in the Real World and how that can help people in today's market.
Maybe one of the concepts would be practice makes perfect. That's not true. You have to add one word: perfect practice makes perfect. Because if you practice the wrong thing, then what are you doing, Terry? You're perfecting an error, correct?
That's correct.
And so, you're a golfer. You can go out and play golf. And if you've got a loop in your swing, you're perfecting an error. It doesn't do any good to play 7 days a week or practice 8 days a week. So I just like to tell the audience there that because of that philosophy and what I teach and what I mentor, I have a lot of coaches. I have a speech coach, which surprises a lot of people. I have a humor coach. I have an idea coach. I have a marathon coach. I've run 10 marathons, Boston's and New York's and Twin Cities marathons. I have a language coach. I've studied Russian, Chinese, Japanese, and Arabic and made many speeches in those languages, M-I-N-I.
Well, it's your show.
To open up. So I can go on golf and tennis. And what I want the people to understand is the reason why I have those coaches, I'm number one, making an investment in myself. That's number one, which will come back 5, 10, 15, 20-fold. Number two, whatever my God-given talent is, whatever my God-given potential is, that's it, Terry. I can't do any better. So therefore, I set a goal, and I call it a goal is a dream with a deadline. I set a goal. I set a time and action calendar, all right? When I want to accomplish that goal and how much time, I give it all I got because I've got a coach coaching me. And guess what? I don't have to worry about anything. So if I want to be an expert on the computer, if I want to be the best public speaker that I can be, doesn't matter what it is, a golfer, if I want to take shorthand, I want to be a typing expert, going back all the time. I mean, it helps to type, as you well know right now, with the computer. I can do all of those things with coaching, and therefore, I can't get any better.
I'm interested in the writing process.
Surely.
In terms of starting with maybe the inspiration of a topic, all the way through. I'm really curious about your writing discipline. In other words, how you write, when you write. I've heard writers say that it's a matter of sometimes of applying the seat of the pants to the seat of the chair. But I'm curious about that.
That's a very good question. Probably almost never been asked that. Now, keep in mind different strokes for different folks. And obviously, if you ask that question to 100 writers, I would believe you probably get 100 different answers. Number one, don't laugh. Okay, I can only write with one pen. I've got my favorite pen, and any other pen I can't write with. I'm sorry, but you're asking the question. Number two, I don't write on a computer. I do it on a legal pad. I can't do it on white pieces of paper. It has to be yellow legal pad. So I get in the frame of mind. Number three, I can't write unless I'm looking at something beautiful. That's why wherever I go in a hotel room, if I know that you're looking at water and I'm looking, over the the garbage collector, I'll change my room immediately. My people know that they'll never put me in a room without a view, and especially if it's got a balcony, so that I can get turned on and so I can really think. Number four, I love to write at 35,000 feet. I always take the window seat on an airplane because I can look at the sunsets and I can look at the sunrises and I can look at the water and the ocean. So that puts me in the right frame of mind. But the discipline comes from this. every time I have an experience, I come back home. I have a dictating machine I've had now for 40 years, and I call my 4 numbers, and that's 24 hours a day. My people take it off, and I will dictate that happening. I will dictate that lesson that I learned, that experience that I had. If I run a marathon, as soon as I get through running, I will, and of course you'll see some marathon stories in all my running. As soon as I get through, we forget 50% of what we hear in 4 hours, let alone experience you can't carry with you. So I'll get on that phone, okay, which of course is my iPhone today, but 25 years ago was a telephone or a paid telephone or whatever, and I will dictate exactly what happened to me during that marathon, what I learned, and I can tell you nothing but story after story. I'll read a book, and I'll dictate. Every experience I have, I try to get down in writing. Now here's what happens. I come to write Swim with the Sharks. I don't even have the title. I don't start with the title, okay? I just start writing vignettes, and you'll notice that in all of my books and all my writings. So here I've got a pile of vignettes, right, of all my experiences. A person's life equals the total sum of his or her experiences, right? Are you with me? So now, okay, I'm going to write a book, a business book. It's my first effort. Okay, I'll have a hat of sales. I'll put one hat of sales, one hat in negotiations, one hat for creativity, one hat for marketing, and all of a sudden I'll take all these vignettes that I've got and I'll toss them in all the hats and all the piles, of course, on the floor. And that's how I come up with my organization. So if you keep writing vignettes, all right, then you've got to, and you keep track. You just can't sit down and write a book. I can't. I mean, I forget all those experiences, the feel, touch, and pulse of what you experienced during that very moment. And because I've been, to 80, 90 countries, and Russia and China and Pakistan and India and Burma, and making speeches over in those countries, how could I remember those experiences if I didn't record them right that very minute? So that's the way I write a book.
Harvey, that's really interesting.
I don't know if that helps or not.
It really does. That's
but
really
I'm going to
interesting.
say one other thing. Definition of a secret is when one person knows. But I'm going to let you in on a little secret, okay? I'll have to turn the clock back. 1983. I'm in Japan. I'm having dinner with a fellow by the name of Don Hewitt, founder of 60 Minutes. My favorite program, 60 Minutes. And I'm with his wife and my wife, so there's the 4 of us. And I'll never forget, I was praising him, what a genius he was. All the ideas you come up with. You're just phenomenal. You got to have the best staff in the world. And now here's where the Mackay balloon got inflated. Yeah, he's not quite the genius that I thought he was. 80 to 90% of all 60-minute stories come from someone else that blew the whistle on somebody or shared their experiences. Now, having said that, I get 50,000 phone calls a year. I get 50,000 letters and emails. Where do you think all my ideas have come from the last 6 books? First one was out of my head, but the next 6, okay, those have all come, a majority of them, from all the stories that I get that I can mingle in, and my speeches that I give, I can take their stories and put my spin on them and my philosophy. See, everybody wants to send me their best story. Wouldn't it be nice to have 50,000 people write you, and they want to absolutely hope that you use this someday in a speech or in a column or in a book, and they give you the best they got? So imagine I have a treasure trove of just fabulous material.
Before we let you go, any final words that you have for the audience, for both those joining us live as well as those that are joining us on recording?
Well, I guess the only final words would be, people sometimes say, how would you like to be remembered? I always, I've done about 85, 90 radio programs already and TV programs all in the last 3 weeks, Terry. As you know, the book only came out roughly a little more than 4 weeks ago. So I might say my goals are to be a good husband and be a good father and also be a good business person And number 4, give something back to the community. That would be what I would leave probably with your audience. Those at least are my goals. But it's good to have goals, good to write them down, good to pick them up, good to look at them. And I think I'd leave you with that. Other than Terry, you've heard me say this before, and I think you were one of the first that I've ever heard ever said this to, and that was on a previous interview that we did. I think you asked me the question, again, something like that, how you want to be remembered. And I said, well, on my tombstone, because I just figured it out 3 months ago, yeah, he couldn't sleep fast enough.
Exactly.
In other words, I don't want to go to sleep. I'm afraid I'll miss something. And I think I was born excited.